I'll ask you first. What did you make of it? Because it's a very closely contested game throughout. Seattle got the edge late. They closed out with a pick. So out of those two teams, because they're tied in the West right now on record at 6-3 with the Rams. So let's just do those three teams. Out of those three teams, who do you like in the NFC?
I give the edge to the Rams to take that division because I think all the teams have good offense, but I'd say the Rams are the only three teams where defense I could trust in the playoffs. I think Seattle's defense, although they played well against Cardinals on Thursday, they've been pretty dreadful for the most part of the season. Same with Cardinals. Those two teams are teams that like to outshoot their opponents or outscore their opponents rather than stop their opponents. But I don't think they could consistently do that in the playoffs. I think all three teams are playoff contenders. I think they all make it. But I think they're all kind of pieces away. And I'll start more with Seattle. Russell Wilson, he kind of lost momentum in the last few weeks. Still a great quarterback, but it's clear that if he's not at the top game like he was earlier this season, Seattle's not winning with it. And even though he has players like Lockett and DK, he has weapons to use, and he's a great quarterback himself. You can't just trust this defense in the playoffs. And the Cardinals, personally for me, I'm a huge fan of the way Kyler Murray plays. I really like the way he plays. I think he could, he's not a consistent thrower yet. He's a better natural passer than most mobile quarterbacks. And because of that, I think he has a great future in the league. But I think he's too young. I don't think he's tested yet in the playoffs, and I don't think that this season in particular will be the year. I'm not sleeping on the Cardinals, but I'm not.
You can't really sleep on the Cardinals. The Cardinals have expectations to do very well. I don't think anyone's sleeping on the Cardinals. I think it comes down to who is going to put their money on the Cardinals, who really has faith in that team. I think out of the three teams, they're not there yet because of how young Kyler Murray is, and I don't think when it comes to playoffs, he'll be able to really go on a playoff run yet. I don't think he's there yet in his development. I think it comes down to Seattle and LA. Seattle's tough because they have struggled on defense. They really have struggled on defense. I think a big factor is in the playoffs is how much pressure are they going to get to opposing QB. They've really struggled getting pressure on QBs this year, and I think the play of Jamal Adams is going to be a big factor. When healthy, Jamal Adams is one of the best safeties in the league. He has struggled this year. He was injured for a few weeks. He's come back, hasn't looked very good. So Seattle is the one team I'm watching very closely because they're a team that I think are Super Bowl contenders, especially in the NFC that is slightly weaker. And because Russell Wilson's playing the best football that he's ever played, and now he has DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, so his weapons are better than they ever have been before. Running back, they need Chris Carson healthy, but they need to establish a little more of a running game to maybe kill some clock late in games. Their O-line hasn't looked very good, so that's my concern with Seattle. But they're always going to be, within a score of any game. Seattle, they're never going to be blown out of a game because of Russell Wilson and that offense. There is no disputing that offense is maybe outside of Kansas City the best offense in the league. So I think the big factor is how can their defense play in the playoffs, and it's going to come down to, I guarantee you, in every game that Seattle plays in the playoffs, it's going to come down to the final 2 minutes unless Seattle finds a way to blow the doors off someone, which with their defense, I highly doubt it.